Hey everyone, this is Derry. Welcome to Diamond Life Design series. And today we're going to cover the big one. Now notice I've waited until video 6 before I've covered this, whereas I'd like to cover this in video 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 because it's the most important thing, which is feelings. Now I know people are going to start to say, Derry, you're not going to go woo on me. Don't worry, I'm not, but this is what I discovered. By the way, I discovered this way later. Another 15-year journey. It was only about 5 years ago this really started to really kick in for me. And in the last few years, profound shifts in, it's all about the feeling for me now, right? But let's understand how that evolved. Now, I've seen this a lot in business, and I think adventure is a great metaphor for this. Now, as my adventures continued, and the next adventure after the Kosciuszko and Marathon des Sables was Kilimanjaro. It came pretty quickly as an accident. I was kind of pretty confident by this point, pretty fit from the Marathon des Sables, and Kilimanjaro was another mountain. I had an opportunity to climb it with a good friend, so I was like, yeah, let's just do it. I actually became a little bit lazy, a little bit complacent. Note that. I think as we start to move in life in certain areas, we can become lazy and complacent, and that's when we're going to get a kick in the ass if we're not careful, right? And the quarter, the month, and the weekly planning that I had done so diligently for the Marathon des Sables, I was still planning really well across areas of life. I just didn't plan it quite so rigorously for this one, and it was going to hurt as a result of it. Now, equally, this is where we can, I find, actually achieve what we set out. This is where you're going to hang in there for this. I'm not a massive fan of goal setting. Now, this is going to be controversial. You'll start to see there's a slight goal-esque stuff scattered throughout the diamond. But I was a massive goal setter for many, many years. But now I'm a little bit more flexible in my approach to goal setting. And also, the goal isn't everything. I think there's some things we miss with the goal, and the big thing is feeling. All right. So now let me explain what I mean by that. So Kilimanjaro was a very clear objective. It was one of the next milestones on the 7 summits. I'd done enough fitness, and the reason I was able to get away with it because I'd built enough resilience by doing the Marathon des Sables and Kosciuszko. I built up confidence along the way. I was already fit, so I was able to get away with things. But what happened on that mountain when I climbed Kilimanjaro was, because I had neglected a little bit of planning and preparation, it made summit day rather miserable. High altitude, I was the highest I'd been at this point. I really hadn't appreciated the brutality of high altitude. You can read this about in my book, Life's Great Adventure. There's a whole chapter around this little saga where on summit day I speeded up. I was cold, I kind of broke away from the group and went solo because I was fit and everyone else was holding me back. And little did I know how you're not supposed to do that when you're in high altitude. As a result of it, I did summit Kilimanjaro really quickly, actually. It was one of my a very great speed ascent, but I was sick at the top. All I needed to do was get down, as I had at the beginnings of HAPE, high altitude pulmonary edema. It was a brutal moment, and actually I ruined what was the goal for me. Now let's just understand and unpick what happened there. I'd set the area of life of adventure. I was really clear on the vision of which Kilimanjaro was the next major objective. I hadn't planned properly per se, but equally I just smashed it on the day, got my goal and came back down again. I never really experienced, I stood on the top of Africa, but I was so sick and so in such a rush and in such a hurry, I never was able to breathe it in. Now, the metaphor of that across the whole of life for me is profound. I should have just taken my time. If I'd have just taken my time and literally enjoyed the journey on the way up, if I'd have taken my time and stayed with my teammates and actually brought them with me on that journey that day, if I'd have taken my time and climatized properly so I could savor that moment, I would have stood on the top of Africa and breathed it all in fully. Now this is the thing with life. We can't rush it. And I think so. Everyone's trying to hack life at the moment. And life, for me, is not a hackable thing. Life is something to be experienced and savoured, and I've messed that up along the way. And it all comes back to that feeling. Now you start to see we begin there in this journey. I'm talking you through my journey. I didn't begin there. That's why I didn't start the series off there. But we must begin with the feelings, and then we're going to filter through everything else, which we're going to come on to the roles and some of the other areas like major focus and growth focus in a while, right? But here's the thing. no matter what we set, if the area of life we've chosen isn't generating the feelings we desire, then we've either got the area wrong or we're doing something wrong. If we are achieving the goals, the objectives, and we left flat, then maybe we've chosen the wrong things. We must really consciously architect the feelings we're seeking in the beginning. Now, you'll start to see, we'll pivot that right back into feelings right now towards the end, because that's the trick here, right? But I've seen too much in business. I certainly, I rose through the ranks to European board level, and I had moments of proudness there and everything else, but it was pretty flat when you got there. I do a lot of scale-up companies in Business Growth Insights, BGI, the company that I co-founded, and is still doing wonderfully well today. In that area, I've seen people, we help people scale, we help people exit. I've seen too many people achieve the dream, exit their companies for life-changing sums and be depressed, be miserable, feel like loss of purpose. This is why my work is spanning both business and life. Do you recognize what I'm saying here? Have you ever gone for something, achieved it, and not felt what you thought you might feel, or felt flat? And I've asked a number of people around this. I went, well, what did you expect to feel? And yet they go, do you know, I never really thought about it. I was so busy on the goal, I was so focused on achieving the objective, I never really thought about the feeling. And that's what we've got to start to unravel. So within the Diamond Life framework, we begin there, and then we go on a journey from that point. And you start to see feelings weave through everything. Now, in the next part of life, let's take roles next, which is the next area I'll go through in the next video.